it informs your understanding of the case. Alright, let's get started. So, again, Maya Millete, she went missing. She's described as being 5'2", 105 pounds, with brown hair. She is said to have a musical tattoo, or musical note tattoo, like right here, on, along like her collarbone on one side. And she also has a hummingbird tattoo. Her brother-in-law, Richard, said she loves her kids. She's a very caring mother to her 3 kids. She was very supportive. She kept her kids in active karate, piano lessons, always on top of it, keeping the kids busy. Her friends expressed concern for her safety in the time leading up to her disappearance. In January, she was given access to a safe house in case she ever found herself in danger, which I didn't know before. So that's very telling. According to her friend, I gave her an address that if she needed to go to, she could go to. She had just told me she was going to need to use that address. I had given it to her in person, but told her, "You're not taking the paper. You're not writing it down. I'm not texting it to you." And I said, "This is where you can go if you need to go. Memorize this address, and this is the code to get in." Prosecutors say that she considered going somewhere and then having him served, and even made a contingency plan to stay at a friend's vacant condo. But Maya did not want to leave her kids, so that was her downfall. They also claimed that they have clear and convincing evidence that the defendant has threatened another with great bodily harm, and there is a substantial likelihood that he would carry out that threat if released. Alright. So, during a New Year's trip, Mary Crease and her husband share that Larry and Maya argued over Maya's Jeep Wrangler, that for a year or 2 it has been kind of a rocky relationship, according to Mary Crease. Maya and Larry had tried marriage counseling, but things had not improved. Maya's brother-in-law, Richard, said they argued a lot and it was a little bit uncomfortable. It was weird because Larry was acting different. He wasn't acting like Larry. He was acting different. They were done. The relationship was done. You could just tell. Richard goes on to describe Larry as always quiet on trips, typically staying near the camp or with his car in his own business. It always seems to be the quiet ones, eh? During the day, he wasn't really at the camp. He was always driving around, and then he would come and ask her a question, and then they would argue. Not argue in front of the family, but you could tell that there was no communication between them, no positive communication between them. Alright. So, growing concern over Larry and the children. A month after Maya went missing, Mary Crease is quoted February 6th saying, "Larry has not been, again, responding to our text messages or answering our phone calls. So we got worried. Me and my sister-in-law went to go check on the kids Monday and to make sure that they were okay, and that was a lot." Mary Crease shared that the pair mostly chatted with Larry's father and with the children, who acted distant. According to Mary Crease and her husband, Larry was distancing himself and the couple's 3 children from their mother's side of the family. Mary Crease, unable to reach Larry, wanted to ask him to help them find Maya. She pleaded for him to show he cares for Maya and loves her, but to no avail. Initially, Mary Crease and Richard could not imagine Larry doing something to Maya, but eventually they had to come to accept reality. So as you can imagine, Maryse and her husband. After Maryse was quoted saying, "We can't imagine him doing anything to our sister," according to an article from February of 2021. Larry is the last person to have seen Maya, and at the time they had been fighting. Additionally, authorities described Larry as having a frantic, desperate, unbalanced mindset, coupled with violent and sometimes homicidal ideation. Larry is described by friends and family as being controlling and stalker-like. That he became obsessed with Maya and her whereabouts, who she communicated with. This was particularly true late 2020 and early 2021. It went so far as Larry showing up unannounced to her work, trying to see if she was meeting with other men. Larry also sent Maya an article on November 24th of 2020 called "What Men Want from Their Wives." Maya told him to focus on also what women want from their husbands. All these things you send me are just about you. Which further solidifies the whole idea that you really think I'm the problem, and if you could only fix me, everything will be okay. As long as I go back to the wife you liked, the one who didn't rock the boat, who didn't assert her feelings, who didn't care how much she was hurting, so long as there was peace and harmony, then things will be okay. Because really, I'm the problem, right? Murder for hire. It was reported that Larry began putting together his murder for hire scheme over the summer of 2020. He asked around while on a New Year's trip to Glamis, California, January of 2021. He made mention of it even as recently as January 4th, only days prior to Maya's disappearance. Larry told someone he was willing to pay a man $2,000 to potentially kill the man he suspected Maya of having an affair with. Some sources say he asked a family member if he knew someone to carry this out for him. Don't involve other people in your crimes. I mean, everybody knows that. This man is unhinged. Larry's Google searches. He searched for a plant you take to never wake up, March of 2020, followed by the plant water hemlock, November of 2020. Water hemlock is a poisonous plant, Secluda glossy, wetland plant frequently found in meadows and along banks and streams. According to the U.S. Forest Service, Seclutoxin is the toxin associated with water hemlock, which causes delirium, nausea, convulsions, abdominal pain, seizures, and vomiting, and this is within an hour of consuming it. Other names for it are beaver poison, children's bane, death of man, poison parsnip, and false parsley. Water hemlock is part of the family, which includes parsley, parsnips, celery, and carrots. Looks similar to parsnips, smells like turnips, and has a sweet taste, though it is considered the most toxic indigenous plant in North America, according to the CDC. Then, December of 2020, Larry Googled, "My wife doesn't want me to touch her." It always seems to come down to this sex and possessiveness, leading to aggression, doesn't it? This was followed by Google searches of a number of CNS sedatives and depressants with the ability to incapacitate someone, flunitrazepam, rohypnol, and diphenhydramine. Diphenhydramine can help with nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and motion sickness. It is an antihistamine with brand names such as Benadryl, Nytol, and allergy medicine. Excessive amounts of Benadryl, in fact, can kill you. Also in Larry's search history was a search on rohypnol, which is a brand name for flunitrazepam, a sedative common date rape drug and CNS depressant. It is part of the drug category of benzodiazepines. These are tranquilizers. Other names for Rohypnol are Mexican Valium, Circles, Roofies, La Rocha, Roche, R2, Rope, and Forget Me pill. It's not available legally in the United States, and in some cases it is still used as anesthesia, though not in the US. This is all consistent with Larry's desire to incapacitate his wife, and in this state, the person drugged can black out on this drug. It leaves them confused, makes it difficult to defend against an attacker, as well as recalling the events while under its influence. There was also something hella creepy that I found recently. So in September 2020, Larry created a shrine to his marriage that included a picture of him and his wife, surrounded by candles with red wax or blood. According to Billy Little, an attorney who has been working with Maya's family, also a direct quote from one of those spellcaster emails that I don't think I read in my previous video. Can you ask to have her hurt enough that she will have to depend on me and need my help? She's only nice to me when she needs me or sick. Thanks again. Maybe an accident or broken bone. This was written December 31st. Neighbors' response to the Maya Millete case. According to an article from October 19th, 2021 from 10 News, after Larry was finally arrested, neighbors expressed a sense of relief after waiting 10 months for this to happen. For so long, everyone went by without any answers and kind of clueless as to what really happened. We're hearing one side saying, yeah, she went on her own, I wasn't involved, and turns out he was arrested for a reason. One neighbor said. Neighbor Ruben Gutierrez said he has been following Maya's case since January and waiting for answers like everyone else in this neighborhood. A guardian, so now we're going to talk about family stuff, the children, and guardianship. A guardian was appointed to the children by the court, a man named Attorney Keely James, in order to represent the interests of the children. Forensic interviews of the children were conducted at Rady Children's Hospital in Kearney, Mesa. Their attorney has requested a copy of the forensic interview. Usually when there's the use of the word forensic, it does mean that it's an official investigation, said Georgiou. So you would have a detective, you would have someone from Child Welfare Services questioning the child. Forensic likely indicating it is part of an official investigation. Children are currently in paternal grandparents' care, denied the emergency custody order of Mayor Crease, but Maya's family has been allowed weekly visitation. The forensic interview would most likely focus on the circumstances surrounding Maya's disappearance and family member relationships. I'm sure that the kids weren't just asked about what happened on a specific day. They were probably asked all kinds of questions about the family as a whole, said Georgiou. So when the wife disappears, the investigation wouldn't have just focused on the husband, it would have looked at everyone in the family. According to the children's attorney, James, they are all doing well in school and have shown no signs of behavioral problems. Child Welfare Services have been investigating the children's safety, and the paternal grandparents, Benito and Judith Millete, intend to petition the court for formal guardianship. Millete grandparents were ordered by Judge Keely to facilitate visitation with the maternal family, as well as helping the children obtain mental health care and services. Visitation also requires details of ongoing case not to be discussed during these visits, and this is likely, to my mind, why Maya's sister was not given custody. From what I last read, said the judge chose not to make a determination on guardianship, setting a hearing for January 19th to revisit the issue. Judge Gillette has questioned giving Driolette, or Maya's sister, Mary Crease, custody of the children because He doesn't want the children to be uprooted from their home and school in Chula Vista, since Mira Crease lives in Riverside County. Her attorney, Scott Finkbeiner, told the judge that she is willing to move to San Diego County to provide the children stability. So, Larry remains in jail with no bail, pending his upcoming murder trial. Through the civil gun violence restraining order, San Diego police were able to seize his guns. This was filed May 5th, 2021, obtaining of evidence. After serving Larry with GRVO, police were in Larry's house for 7 hours, seized gun and ammo, used a crime scene scanner in the garage and master bedroom, which is a 3D computer layout of the crime scene that it's able to create. Laser and camera are used in this process. Laser maps everything it sees as it spins on 2 axes. Can examine with this what path the bullet may have taken. On December 1st, 2021, the GRVO was dismissed. A few weeks after his arrest, since he has no bail, his custody status and restrictions in the criminal case are, not necessary. And based on his custody status and restrictions in the criminal case. So, domestic violence. Often with domestic violence, a triggering event leads up to the homicide. According to Stefan, Larry Millete's triggering event was the call his wife had placed to the divorce lawyer on January 7th, booking an appointment. Stefan said her team knows Larry knew about Maya's call to the divorce lawyer based on texts he sent to his boss. Stefan says Chula Vista police executed 67 search warrants over the 9-month investigation and have been able to uncover a trail of things that were happening that were of great concern. After Maya was reported missing, Larry began targeting a man he blamed for his marriage failure through his spellcaster emails, which had prior been aimed at Maya, this implying she was dead, so he didn't need to cast any more spells towards her. Also, according to Mary Crease and Richard, not long after Maya went missing, Larry began going on her Facebook page and removing photos and videos from her account. Family began trying to archive every photo because of this. Upon Larry's arrest, his lawyer, Bonita Martinez, told CBS News that his arrest was a surprise to me since they have no proof Maya is dead and I believe she is still alive. Bitch, please. Larry said weird things to his children when contacting them and violated a protective order put in place by the judge. Over 9 hours worth of calls and conversations were happened with the children. He would ask them to read him news headlines about the case, mostly his 11-year-old daughter. He told them to watch an R-rated movie called Shot Caller, which stems from a true story about a well-to-do businessman who, through a mistake he made, develops into a ruthless gangster in an effort to live through prison life. It is an interesting gang reference given the fact that Larry Millete in 1997 was arrested for gang-related assault, which prompted his move to Hawaii, which is where he met his wife, May, in family court, Maya's family. Her parents, Pablito and Noeme Templanza, filed a petition for visitation on May 27th, 2021, seeking visitation with their grandchildren, who were then 5, 10, and 12. According to Maya's family, they had been deprived of the children by their father, and they viewed this severing of ties to be for the children detrimental to their health and emotional well-being. Amen. Larry opposed their petition for visitation. The next hearing was February 25th, 2022. However, following Larry's arrest, a probate judge in a separate guardianship case granted weekly visitation. Part of Mary Crease's argument for temporary guardianship of the children stems from the fact she does not believe Larry from seeing the maternal side of the family. Maya's parents have petitioned for visitation in May with an agreement in September, which would provide weekly in-person visits. Mary Crease says that the children have not seen relatives from their mom's family since her death and spoke with them once on the phone. The Milletes responded to the guardianship petition, objecting on the basis she is not a good fit to be their guardian and is not in their best interest. Maya's sister Mary Crease drew a latte along with the children's paternal grandparents Benito and Judith Millete virtually appeared in court with their lawyers. The hearing centered around visitation rights for the three children. Visitation rights were granted to the children's maternal relatives beginning November 14th, during which Millete and members of Maya's family would meet from 12 to 3 p.m. in the January 19th hearing. A judge ruled Maya's relatives are now able to get visitation rights in Riverside County from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every other weekend, exchanging in public places. Another hearing is scheduled for April 25th. Children have begun court-ordered therapy and permanent guardianship has been decided for the children. That is all that I have on the case. I hope you found this information helpful, informative, that you enjoyed